Ladies and gentlemen, I am joined this evening from his garage stroke office stroke music room stroke whatever it happens to be functioning at the time, Mr. Nick Johnson, formerly of the band Devilment and currently, and has been for quite a while, of the band Recovered. Nick, how are you?
Good evening, Michael.
Hello,
I'm
Nicholas.
wonderful.
Jolly good.
Wonderful.
That's what I like to hear. Right, so, Mr. Nick, we have known you, it's quite a few years now, isn't it?
Yeah, God, a long time.
How long have you been in Recovered now?
My latest tenure with Recovered, I can't even say. Probably 7 years this time, maybe? No.
I reckon you've been with us 7 years, maybe in total, 7 or 8 years, something like that.
In total. So it was like 2 years, and then a gap.
Yep.
And then a long period of time up until now.
But you've got to have a gap year when you're in a band like this. You've got to go travel the world, grow, seek your fortunes, and all that shite.
Yes, shite.
Yes. Before Recovered, you were a man about town. You were pretty much in every band that was going.
Played in quite a few.
You did, in the sort of Colchester area. You certainly done your work. But your main break... Oh, hello, Gordon. We have a Mr. Gordon Parrish online.
Hello, Gordon.
Hi, Gordon. Your main break came when you joined the band Devilment.
Did, yes.
So hopefully what we're going to do, we're going to start off from the early days of Nicholas, and then we'll progress on to fame and fortune and glory, and then up to present day. So for people who don't know you, who I'm sure there aren't anybody, handsome chap like yourself, give us a brief rundown of who you are and what you do.
Okay, so sort of musically, I guess.
Yeah.
I started playing the cello in primary school. Played in the school orchestra. We did some.
We did not know this about you.
You didn't know that?
No.
You have no idea.
How have you kept that for us for so long?
All right. So if you want to go back even a little bit further than that, obviously, mostly the first instrument people start playing is the recorder.
Yep.
But me, being me, didn't play the recorder. Have you seen a bass recorder?
Oh, one of the big boys.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. It looks more like a drain pipe with a smaller drain pipe. Yeah.
Is that the one instead of going boop, it goes boop?
Yeah. Boop. Yeah. So Nick played the bass recorder for a little while at school, and then started playing the cello.
Right.
And we did some sort of tours of like Italy, France, Germany, that sort of thing. Mostly playing at like old people's homes and other schools. That's my first touring experience.
I can't believe that we didn't know any of this about you.
Yeah, well, the cello comes back later on as well.
Oh, this is going to be great.
In my tale of woe. So that's primary school, yeah. And then secondary school, I started a band with some friends at school, that sort of thing, you know. And that got me going. That sort of got me going with bass, and not playing cello.
Was it a hard decision to leave it?
No.
Easier to carry around anyway.
Not at the time, it wasn't. So then after school, had another I had an originals band with other school and college mates. Then that broke up, and we started another band. That was like a sort of thrash death metal band called Eradication.
I remember that name.
Yeah, we did that for a couple of years. So that was probably when I just finished uni. That was good. That was more of a kind of another like different, more serious learning curve, I guess, than with the previous bands. So we were signed to like a small label, did an album,
Right.
A little bit of sort of touring in a van, that kind of thing. Actually, the cello came back before that happened, before that band. So when I was at uni, I randomly got hold of another cello and tried to start learning it again because I thought that would be something cool, something musical. Might be able to add to my bass playing with it.
Yeah.
But instead of that, all I did was try and play it like a bass and try and learn death metal songs on it, and it didn't really go very well. So the second cello got sold again soon after. Did Eradication for a couple of years, a little bit of touring, that sort of thing, and then that band split up. Everyone sort of, I think Murray, Murray. Murray was the guitarist. He was sort of getting more involved with writing music, things like that. The singer, I think, wanted to concentrate more on his sort of tattoo career,
right?
Which he's still doing. Our drummer basically sort of exploded and couldn't play drums anymore.
Oh dear.
And we were like, we didn't really want to replace members. People had started to lose interest, so that all folded.
By the way, you're being seriously trolled by Josh at the moment.
I'm always being seriously trolled by Josh at the moment.
Yeah.
He doesn't let up. And actually, Josh, I wasn't late, so you can stick that comment up your ass.
Yeah, this is true. Nick was bang on time. So, yeah, Josh is throwing as many ginger and carrot icons at the screen as possible.
Okay, good. Yeah. Long may it continue. I can't remember where I was now.
Eradication, everyone split, you just went your separate ways.
Yeah, at the same time as doing Eradication, I was in another band called Bardo and the Boss. And that was not metal in the slightest. That was, we had two female singers originally, doing loads of like vocal harmonies, and it was all sort of really built around their sort of vocal interplay.
Really good as well. I remember seeing them several times, and you guys were really tight.
Very different. It wasn't really like anything else that was going on. So that was really good. I think that band lasted a bit longer in various different like reincarnations. That lasted longer than Eradication did.
Who was the lineup of that? Because that was Lauren.
Originally, that was Liam.
Oh yeah.
Liam, me, Lauren, and Laura. And then we added Ads, who was the drummer from Eradication, but he was playing guitar. And then we added a guy called Isaac on drums. So Liam stopped playing drums and started playing guitar. And then Laura left. And then Isaac left. And then we had a guy called Matt from Groove Tales, played drums.
I thought for people who don't know who these people are, we might have to give second names, mightn't we?
We might.
Yeah, we may have to. So Lauren
was Lauren Francis.
Yep.
Laura Wyatt.
Yep.
Liam Hooker. Then Isaac Reeves.
Well remembered.
And then Adam Bowers.
Because
I can't remember Matt's surname.
Liam? Did Liam used to be? Was he a guitarist?
Yeah.
Was he a guitarist in black metal band with Sam? Is that a different Liam I'm thinking of?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know the guy you're thinking of. No, different Liam.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was that. That was Rada and the Boss. Then when Eradication split up and Rada and the Boss was still going, I started playing bass for Pistols and Vultures. And that was because I basically replaced Nick Woodham in Pistols and Vultures as I replaced Woodham in Recovered the first time I joined.
And Nick Woodham is the bass player in Jupiter Ray and the guitarist in what's his originals band? What are they called? I've forgotten.
The Ransoms.
The Ransoms. That's the one.
Yeah. So I started playing bass for Pistols and Vultures. That was more of I didn't really do any songwriting or take part in that kind of side of things. I was just basically like a sort of session player for the live stuff. Then oh god, it's so difficult to remember it all, like the actual timeline of it. But started doing Devilment as well.
That...
And then at that point, it was kind of doing Varda and the Boss, Pistols and Vultures, Devilment. And I think I'd probably started doing Recovered by that point as well.
Yeah, I think you were in your first incarnation of Recovered at that point.
Yeah, there was definitely a period of 4 bands going at the same time, which was quite a lot.
Yes, it is.
Quite a lot to handle. But it's fun. But then there does come a point where things have to start stopping. I think it was around the time of the first Devilment tour that I stopped playing the Pistols and Vultures.
So
and let the others
if we go from, let's kick off from the Devilment point then. So how did you get involved with Devilment? For those who don't know, Devilment was Dani from Cradle of Filth. It wasn't started by him, was it? It was started by one of the other members, and they got Dani involved. And that's sort of what it's known for, as being almost like Dani's other project, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah. So I love playing metal, really. At the end of the day, that was what sort of really got me into music. And I hadn't played metal for about a year, so I was just looking around on. I can't remember what it was on. Just you just search in Google for like auditions for, or bass player wanted sort of adverts,
Craigslist,
and then that kind of thing, I guess. And and I saw one pop up for this band in Ipswich, and it was like the advert was trying to say, like, we've got people in the band who have got like big label deals and stuff and loads of experience and all this sort of blah blah blah. And I'm like, there's like literally one person in Ipswich that I know, so that's going to be a band with Dani in it. So yeah, I'll reply to that.
It'd be like saying a kind of a rave band from Braintree, but we can't say who they are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the equivalent, isn't it, really?
Exactly, yeah. So I replied to that and then went for an audition at Dan Finch, the old guitarist's house. And yeah, that was about it, really. It wasn't much to it. So when you play this riff, yes.
You're in.
Yeah, that was pretty much
excellent.
it.
Can you look angry on stage? Yes.
Constantly.
Yeah. I was born this way. So was there were they signed at the time, or was it sort of a new sort of risky venture, so to speak, or did you know that you were getting into something that was potentially going to lead somewhere?
Yeah, I think it was more, for me, it was all about potential. And I didn't really know what the potential was, but I thought we're just going to sort of run with it and see how it goes.
So how long were you in the band before things actually started to take off, before the band started getting noticed, before the shows start coming in, tours start appearing?
Okay, so the band was actually signed and had an album out before the first tour started. So we hadn't done any gigging. The first show we did was the first show of the first tour.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So you didn't have to do all kind of the leg work that you had to do pretty much in all your other earlier bands, where you're just gigging around everywhere, just trying to hope something's going to happen.
None of it. No. I mean, there was the only sort of leg work we had to do was a bit of a reshuffling of a band member, and then getting other people in. So that's where Lauren, who was in Varda and the Boss, also joined Devilment, playing like keys, and sort of second vocals. A group decision saw the exit of one of the guitarists, one of the original guitarists, and then that's when Colin Parks joined, and then that sort of became Dani, Dan Finch, me, Lauren, Colin, and Aaron Boast became the original sort of lineup that sort of got out and started gigging and writing together and that sort of thing.
So, what was your first show like for you guys? Considering that you hadn't played any shows beforehand.
You know, it was in Bristol, I think, and it was on Halloween, and it was the day our album. It was the day our album came out.
Oh, so it's an album launch party.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't. I wouldn't say it was like a baptism by fire because everyone in that band had played loads of shows.
Yeah.
Before, sort of thing. So it wasn't like a new experience by any stretch, but the environment, like the idea of the environment, a little bit. Like that's the first time I'd been on a nightliner on a bus sort of thing. You think, oh, this is
interesting.
This all feels a bit more like real than sitting in the back of a transit or sitting in the back of my car and like
in your mate's Punto, like driving down to London with half a drum kit in the back.
Yeah, and that all felt, oh, this is pretty cool, man. Like this is pretty cool. And then got on stage and went, oh shit, like all we've done is like studio rehearsals. This is, I don't know where I'm going. Oh god, but it was good fun. It was good fun, and I think that's the main thing, isn't it? As long as it's fun, you can you sort of keep doing stuff.
So with Eradication, had you gone outside of the UK, or was that strictly restricted in the country?
No. Eradication, we did I think we did a 2 or 3 week sort of. We did a couple of sort of 2-3 week tours in the UK, just in a transit, sort of with us, maybe one other bands, or a few other bands actually. But
that smelled glorious.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was disgusting. But that band, we didn't really sort of take it too seriously, so it was more like a sort of a driving party, really, with shows which were fun. But we also went to Belgium quite a lot, and France a bit. So we got out of the UK a little bit, but
so you'd had the experience of being abroad playing shows.
Yeah. And you do this. My sort of lasting experience of that was how well we got treated in Europe.
I've heard a lot of people I know who've toured Europe say all the same thing. It's unfortunately,
promoters were great. Even people at the shows were like, come and stay in our flat.
Yeah.
I think actually someone gave us the keys to their flat and they went and stayed at their mates. So there was enough room for everyone to stay.
Nice.
Yeah.
So with Devilment then, at what point did you start to sort of hit? So whereabouts did you tour with Devilment? So obviously you did the UK.
So we did. We went out with Motionless in White and Lacuna Coil. That was after the first tour we did. And that was, I think, like 4 or 5 dates in the UK. And then we went to, it was like just sort of through Europe, really. It was like Germany, Luxembourg. We did Belgium, and there was quite, obviously, Lacuna Coil being Italian, there were like 4 or 5 shows in Italy.
Yeah.
And Italy's quite a long country, isn't it? So quite a few shows there. And then after that tour, we did some festivals. Not directly after it, but further down the line, we did a few festivals in Europe. So, Summer Breeze in Germany, in Bavaria.
Oh, excellent!
That was really cool. We drove to that. We borrowed a van and drove down to it, that was cool. That's one of the things actually. Sort of when I think about it, that I enjoy more maybe about stuff with like Eradication. Was being in the van, and it's sort of everyone in it together. Like it's hot, sweaty, grimy, and you're like, oh, this is nasty. But
it's sort of like the dream, isn't it? That when you hear the dreams of bands trying to make it, that was kind of the vision that comes to mind, isn't it?
But it's more fun. It's so much more fun. So much more fun than sitting on this great big bus and like just being driven to places. It's more of an adventure, I think, and that's one aspect that I definitely really likes out of doing it yourself, sort of thing.
Yeah. So that's a good point, actually, to go into one of the things we did want to talk about was the idea of when you're young and you've got, all these hopes and dreams of becoming a rock star and all this kind of stuff, compared to the actual reality of what touring is like. Because I think everyone sees like the glamour ideal that you're treated like royalty, you'll turn up adoring fans everywhere, that things just go off without a hitch, but the actual reality to it is completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's little elements of that sort of thing, but like I like to sleep in my own bed. Have you ever been like a nightliner bus and seen what the bunks are like?
They are coffins, aren't they?
Yeah, it's shit.
Yeah,
and so you can't even like turn over on them and that without dislocating an arm or something. So I wasn't too keen on that aspect of it. You get on the bus in one town, you then go to sleep, you wake up the next day, you're somewhere different, and you've got a whole day to kill. Like what we're doing, it's cool. You can go out and see places and that, but then especially in Europe, loads of the venues are miles outside of the town.
Right.
So you've either got to walk or get a taxi. Or if there is public transport nearby, that sort of thing, use that. So I was a bit like, it is what it is, but like,
sounds great if you're playing in the middle of Moscow or Rome or something like that, but
but you will never be playing in the middle of it.
No.
No,
you won't.
One of the worst things that happened was because obviously all buses like that, they've all got toilets on them, but you don't shit in the toilet.
That's the golden rule, I've heard.
Yeah, and I woke up in Germany one morning and was like, oh Christ, got to go to the loo, can't go on the bus, tried to get in the venue's locked. So I walked and walked and walked and walked, trying to find somewhere like a McDonald's that was open that I could go to the loo in.
Yeah.
And there was nowhere. And I think eventually, by the time I'd like started heading back towards the venue, somewhere had opened, so I managed to get in, use the loo. I hadn't put any socks on, and my feet were covered in blisters by the end of the walk back.
Excellent.
Yeah, that was so that's like, the rock and roll lifestyle, isn't it? Right there, needing a poo, being denied a poo,
having nowhere to go.
And then just getting loads of blisters on your feet.
Yeah, poo and blisters. There's your autobiography title.
Yeah, living the dream.
So, what are the good things about? Because obviously we'll go into this in a bit more depth, but what things from the aspirations you had as a young musician, what kind of got fulfilled by doing those shows and playing to those crowds?
I guess I think just the shows, the size of the shows, the amount of people that you're performing to, the reaction, getting almost to some extent getting like an instant reaction, an instant vibe back off the crowd.
Yeah.
Because they're, everyone's there for, not necessarily there for you, because obviously we were the opening act, so not necessarily there for us, but there for a metal show, and they're a lot of like-minded people, well, musically like-minded people in the same environment wanting to do the same sort of thing. So the shows went off pretty quickly, which was, I think for me, like just having that big show vibe, loads of people there, that was really cool. And it's not something I'd really experienced before at that point in my sort of playing music.
So what about the other side of things, the things that you discover? Because obviously you learn, how many band members were in Devilment? Was it 5?
6.
So you got 6 people living on a bus together.
Well, we were actually on a bus so there was us, there was all of Lacuna Coil, and then all of the crew as well.
Wow.
So they looking were to five piece.
And Christina Scabby is only tiny. She only needs half a bunk.
Yeah. They had their own section, like fenced off from everyone else at the front of the bus.
Ooh.
Posh section, yeah.
First class.
Yeah. So yeah, there was that's 11 plus the driver plus the TM plus 3 or 4 people in the crew.
Yeah.
So it's like if the bus was full, it was rammed.
I can't think of anything worse. That sounds like my worst nightmare. Just being in that close proximity with that many people and just having to sit there and listen and smell everyone and everything.
And it's still not every day that you get a shower.
No. There's got to be some industrial strength deodorant going on in that place.
Oh, yes.
So, after experiencing, how was it? Did people get on well? I mean, does spending that much time in that close proximity with each other, are you able to manage it okay, or does it just end up grating on everyone? Because I think it changes people, doesn't it, when you have to sort of be around each other that much for that long?
I think that first tour sort of it showed where there were some fractures in the sort of relationships between some of the band members.
Yeah.
And then it showed where things weren't working. And then I'm trying to be
yeah, I know you've got
to be polite about it.
Yeah. Is that on a sort of professional level or a personal level, as in just people getting on with each other, or
both?
Yeah,
it was on both. Yeah, I mean, I remember there being comments made about, I should have played like this on the album.
Oh, like, that's a bit harsh.
What do you mean? What do you mean you should have played it like that on the album? You definitely shouldn't have played it like that on the album. So I didn't realise you couldn't play it to that extent.
Yeah.
And we sort of some people weren't really up to where the general consensus wanted to go with writing the next album, that sort of thing.
Yeah, because Lauren left, didn't she?
No, Lauren didn't leave then.
Was that later on?
Yeah. So Dan Finch left shortly after that tour of his own accord. And we carried on without Dan anyway. But I think that first tour again, it definitely took a toll on some of the relationships between band members.
Yeah.
As these things can do, and it's not just Devilment that suffer from that, but I think a lot of bands have done whatever, sort of maybe grown up together and done all these other small shows. That only takes one thing to sort of change the dynamics a little bit of what you're used to before cracks can start to appear.
Well, I suppose it's kind of, if you're going to a job where there's someone causes trouble, and you've got that feeling of, I've got to go and spend however long in this person's company, and they can just irritate you or wind you up, and the things they're doing, if they're not pulling their weight, they're not doing this, they're not doing that.
Yeah.
All of that's just going to be really frustrating.
Yeah, sure. You get to a point and you think, I don't want to do that with that person.
Yeah.
So I can't remember.
That's all right. So at what point, because how many tours did you do with Devilment?
So it was only two. Two full tours. The problem, but part of what Devilment was kind of up against, definitely at that point in time, was that Cradle, Dani's band, Cradle of Filth, had a massive sort of resurgence as well.
Yeah.
So we did. I think he kind of went from like a Cradle album and a Cradle tour to then the Devilment tour, and then back to Cradle stuff. So after that first Devilment tour, I think we did a couple of festival shows the following summer in Europe, and then it was kind of, there wasn't much gigging at all.
Yeah.
For a while, because Dani was off doing Cradle stuff.
So was that one of the reasons sort of that caused you to leave? Was it just because it wasn't doing enough, or did you just find that it wasn't for you in the end?
For me personally, I started to feel that I wasn't investing my time where I should be investing my time.
Right, because you are a family man. You have multiple children.
I now have 2 sons, and me and Steph got married just over a year ago.
I know.
Well over a year ago.
There.
You were there.
I was.
And I think when I left Devilment, it had Hugo had been born, and he was probably about a year to 2 years, something like that. And it was doing that band was taking up every Thursday evening, and then weeks away at a time for tours, that sort of thing. And then as well, other parts of my free time be spent writing and trying to do stuff like that. And it was taking up sort of time that then was not becoming, but always had been valuable family time.
Yeah.
And for what everyone always says, oh, you should do music for the love of doing music, but
right, yeah, we'll come back to that, won't we?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
I don't really react very well to when people say that.
Tell you what, let's address that now, shall we? Just for shits and giggles, because we've both been doing music for quite a long time.
Yes,
and Carrie's just laughing at Josh. She's just tuned in. But the whole idea of doing it for the love, right? Doing it for the love, in my opinion, is great when it doesn't cost you money.
Exactly.
So if you're having to pay out for rehearsals, you're having to pay out for transport everywhere, you're paying for this. If you can fund that, and you can fund it like a hobby, then great.
Yeah.
But I think it's different if it looks like there's going to be some kind of future in it. But if you're at that low level where, and we've all been there, where we're turning up, we're basically playing to all the other bands. There's nobody that I remember this from when I was doing originals bands, when we sort of around the same time, and I was playing in a metal band called Invasive, and we turned up, and the venue had 6 people in it, and they were the other band. Yeah. And I said to one of the other members, like of the other bands, I just said, "This is shit, isn't it?" And it was like his answer will go with me to my grave. He's like, "Oh no, it's not too bad." And I'm like,
"What do you mean it's not too bad?"
Yeah, in what world is this not fucking dire? And it's that, I guess you can go on stage and you're with your mates and you can just play and it's a bit of fun and everything. But when for people who are investing a lot of time and effort into this kind of thing and getting not really any reward, I suppose if you're doing it just for the love, that's one thing. But when you've got a family like you and you've got all of these things to juggle, and
that's the thing, is that there needs to be more. There needs to be a bit more than just in it for the love at the end of the day, sort of thing.
Yeah, if you've got bills to pay and a family to support, love doesn't keep a roof over your head. Yeah,
and if you think you go away for however long on a tour, and then you come back at the end of it, and then you look at what you've earned, and you're like, I should have just. If you're looking at it just from the point of view of how much you've earned from it, then I should have just gone to work.
Yeah, and that's the reality, isn't it? And we'll come on to sort of the choice between sort of doing covers bands and originals bands, and kind of the perks and the sort of the highs and the lows of each. there's quite a well-known metal band who've been around for years and years, and our good friend Matthew Speed, he's good friends with them. And I'm not going to mention any names, but what they have to do, and these guys are well established, very long careers in the metal industry, but to get through a tour, they have to max out all their credit cards to survive. And then when they come back, hopefully the royalties and everything and the payments from the tour will be enough to clear their credit card. So they're always on just a level playing field. There's never any profit. It's just survival, even when you're in a band of that size.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the band you're talking about.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
But because obviously things are different now, aren't they? Regarding to, it used to be a case of when you were, I know you were telling me earlier about how people think you can write to a record label on like a sandwich, on like a fucking crisp paper with a demo in it, and say, oh yeah, this is my band, we're really good, come check us out at the Fart and Firkin down in wherever.
Shitsville.
And they're going to look at that and go, wow, these kids have got dreams and ambitions. I'm going to go and see these guys. I mean, back in the early days, you would get promoters turning up, wouldn't you? And might happen to see a band and might think about investing. But for you in Devilment at that point, I mean, luckily you had obviously Dani, who was already an established name, which kind of obviously gave you some brownie points in that department. But for sort of having that, we can sort of go out and be discovered thing, that's pretty much non-existent now, isn't it? I think with social media, you have to almost prove yourself as a viable financial entity before anyone's
social media first.
Yeah, before anyone's going to even be remotely interested in you.
Yeah.
So
I think that I do think that is the case.
So,
but then I haven't done original stuff that's needed to sort of do that for so long now. I wouldn't say that is exactly the case, but from looking from the outside of it now, that is definitely what it seems like.
Yeah. So with the ease of being in a covers band, and again, this will come back to people saying you should do it for the love of it. Do you find doing it for the love or doing it for cash better?
Cash?
Yeah. Pretty much.
The thing is, at the end of the day, I love playing music.
Yeah.
So I'm doing it because it's something that I love to do. But it's better to get paid for something that you love doing than to not.
Yeah.
I think.
No, I completely agree. It's that.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, with being in a covers band, I think you know this. Yeah, you might not get to play the best songs in the world, but you still get to play music. Occasionally, your band might throw in something that you really enjoy, and you get some money at the end of it.
I think it depends how you approach the covers as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How I don't think Recovered anyway has ever played a cover exactly how the cover's meant to be played. It's just sort of the.
I don't think we know how.
No, it's just the version that comes out on that night, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's always hit and miss.
Yeah, but that element of it is good fun. I really enjoy that.
But do you think there's? I mean, would you like obviously covers wise? Do you think like when people? What's the best way to put this? Do you find there's a certain arrogance that comes from people, like in original? I've had this said to me before, and people saying like covers band musicians aren't real musicians. You're just playing other people's music, and things like that. And there's a sort of a bit of an arrogance of, well, we're making our own music, we're playing, we're going out and pushing, living our dream, trying to make it big, and you guys
pushing
are kind of
sonic boundaries.
Yeah, pushing sonic boundaries.
But half those people, all they're doing is pushing sonic turds. So
yeah, actually, we were talking about this the other night with the whole local music scene, and when pubs and everybody are trying to encourage a local scene to come in and support the band and all this kind of thing. You thought, well, if a band is good, surely that should be enough to draw in a crowd. And if people want to see them, if you're relying on the music scene around you to support whatever band happens to be playing, is it just the band's not that good?
I don't know. Potentially. Potentially.
I've just got these sort of so many memories, and I've done some fucking awful bands. I think we've all done our fair share of shit, I think, especially in the early days.
Oh yeah.
And if it wasn't for our friends turning up, friends and family, or the same people, that social group that we were part of turning up, nobody would have come to see us because we were crap.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think it's just what are people as interested in going out to see original music, do you think? Or have you actually got to be is it just getting harder to get people out to see you because people aren't as sort of, I suppose there's more to do at home and things, isn't there? There's not...
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, generally with covers bands, it will be playing at a pub where it's free to get in. I think trying to sell tickets, from what I remember from playing original shows when we were trying to sell people tickets, it's actually selling the tickets that was almost the hard part, because if you got a big headliner or a big headliner, come through and you're playing some of the support acts to that, and you've got a ticket that's like 15 quid that you're trying to sell to people who are, I don't know, sort of 50-50 on the gig.
Yeah.
And if they go to that same venue, they're used to paying maybe like £3 to £5 to get in. They've never heard of the headliner, so you're trying to essentially sell tickets for your band for 15 quid instead of the £5 that they would normally pay. They're a bit like, am I going to pay that? That's what I can remember as being slightly more difficult.
Because there's also that thing, wasn't there, of, I suppose one thing I've noticed that they started doing now, and it's been a long time since I've done like proper original stuff, but it used to be 3 bands on a bill, didn't it? Usually that was, and now you go to a venue and there'll be 6, because they're trying to sort of get as many people in as possible, hoping that if you get as many bands together, then they think you're going to more likely pull a bigger crowd.
Yeah, because the venue, but the venue, generally, I speaking, is probably only really making money over the bar, aren't they? They're not really going to make much money on ticket sales.
So do you think?
I would guess.
Yeah. So do you think it would be better for bands to basically just? It sounds really harsh when you say just be better.
I don't know what. I don't know. I can't. Probably not really best place to make a fair comment on it, because I haven't done original stuff for ages, and I haven't done original stuff locally for ages. So I don't really know.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's just something I would want to get some take on, cause just something I remember seeing at these kind of gigs, and just sort of thinking, I know why people aren't coming to see us, because we're shit.
Years and years ago, probably over 10 years ago, I would agree with you. Yes, that would be the reason why people weren't at some particular shows. But then there was a certain night of the week where those shows would always be scheduled. So that was like a plug and play night.
Yeah.
So, and if that kind of band where you thought, well, I don't know, give them a chance, they'll go and they'll go and play at that, and then see what kind of a crowd they brought through.
Yeah.
And then you'd probably, if they did good at that, you'd sort of see them on a bit of billing, another stage in the week, sort of thing. But weirdly, have you heard of a band called Don Brocco?
No.
They're pretty well known now. I've seen them on like Radio 1 and stuff like that. They've done some massive shows, but I originally saw them at a plug and play night at the Twist in Colchester.
God, the Twist, that was a while back.
Yeah, but that's just one band who are definitely not an example of of a shitty band who played on a Wednesday night and then went on to some like really good stuff.
Yeah, and I have seen. That's the thing. I have seen at these nights where you just felt really sorry for bands, where you've got a band who can play. They've written really, really good songs, but there's just nobody there.
That was like when I saw Gojira for the first time.
Really?
In the art centre, there was like it wasn't empty, but it wasn't like rammed. There wasn't enough people there for it to make sense. Right. Don't understand that, but there you go.
I suppose that means there is actually hope, though, because obviously Gojira are a great band, and a lot of these bands have obviously still come from really sort of what's the word? They've all had to do their hard. They've all gone to the school of hard knocks when it comes to music. They've all done the rounds. But I think generally, I would say if you agree, if you're a good band, and you write good music and you can get it out there in some way, shape or form, there is going to be interest in you. If you're struggling so much to get people to come and see your shows or to take an interest in music, maybe it's just that you're not sort of as good as you think you may be.
Yeah, and I think, I think there's different, like, obviously we've sort of talked about like how you kind of have different reasons for doing the things that you're doing, for playing the music you're playing and whatever, and it doesn't really matter how good or bad you are, if as long as you've in your own mind you've established the reasons that you're doing something for. If you're just doing it for your own, really at the end of the day, it's just for your own enjoyment. Who gives a shit what other people think? You just do what you like.
Oh yeah, agree.
And it doesn't matter how good you are, or how not good you are, sort of thing. As long as you're enjoying it and doing what you want to do, that's fine. And you can't, hats off. That's what you want to do. But there are other people who definitely take themselves far too seriously and think they are the bollocks, but the band isn't. And they think they're going to be. They think they're going to be something massive, and they never. They don't turn out to be. They never will be.
Yeah, no, I know probably from the way I've described it, which has been quite terrible. The way you've just described it is far, far better. Made me just sound like I was just knocking anybody who isn't up to scratch in a band. But no, that's not at all what I mean. Because I know guys in covers bands who they know they're not the best musicians in the world, but they'll go out and play because they enjoy it. They like having fun, And then if that's the reason you're doing it, and you're happy, brilliant.
Yeah.
Same as with originals bands. If you just love doing it and you love writing songs and you just like getting out and playing, but yeah, do you think there's what I've noticed this? I've noticed this more. I think with bands who are up and coming, who've got an idea of what they feel, the way they should behave, and the way they should act, and all the things that they feel they should do.
Yeah.
To make it in the industry, and then sort of when you actually see how the industry is actually run and the way things really happen, it couldn't be further from the truth. Like bands feeling they have to act a certain way, have to have a certain persona.
Yeah.
All these kind of things. And do you find that's productive or anti-productive?
Very. First-hand experience says very anti-productive.
Can you give us any examples?
Well, just don't be so drunk that you can't actually play.
Yeah, it sort of worked. It worked back in the day when you could probably. Well, I suppose even back in the day, these musicians, they still managed to at least play while pissed somehow.
Yeah. So that would be one thing. Definitely don't do that. But music is a business, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an industry. It's the music industry, like the music fun factory. It's the music industry, isn't it? So I think the people who are really successful approach it
as a business,
and have a real sort of a good idea and plan of where they want to go with what they're doing.
I can't remember who it was. I remember it was someone. It might have even been someone from like Metallica or one of those kind of bands. and they were saying that as soon as money gets involved, then everything changes.
Yeah.
Everyone will start having, their own accountants, their own managers, and that's sort of if you don't keep it together at that point, then the money just sort of drives a wedge in between everyone, and then you get that rude awakening of this is actually what the reality is of this thing. It is a machine. It's a machine. You are now a product. And actually, that's something on this thing of being a product. We were talking the other day about people who they don't see bands as people anymore. They see bands as a product. And so therefore, sort of, if a band doesn't do something the way they like it, they almost take it like a personal attack. Like, for example, with like Metallica, if Metallica did something...
St. Anger.
Yeah, and then they did St. Anger and they did Death Magnetic as well, didn't they? And everybody was suddenly, this is like real old Metallica. I personally didn't think it was. To me, it sounded like Metallica by numbers.
Yeah,
Put this riff next to this riff, and hope it sounds like our old stuff.
Yeah.
But there is that thing, isn't it? If, as a creative person, if you start to go off in a slightly different direction, everyone's like, I don't fucking like this. You've sold out. You're all gone to shit. You're a bastards, and I hate everything about you now, and I'm really upset. Do you think it would do people favours to actually sort of realise that bands are still human beings? Or do you think that just comes with the territory? If you're going to become part of the machine, then you have to just take the fact that is how you're going to be seen. Did you experience anything like this? About, say, for example, if somebody liked one album better than the other, did people really sort of criticise? Or
I don't really care. Whatever, mate. In my personal opinion, certainly with Devilment, the second album was way better than the first album. Technically better, but I think it was better written. Just sort of everything about it, I felt was better put together. And I honestly, if someone had said they preferred the first album or any of that, any of the above, what you mentioned, I would not have given a shit.
Yeah.
And I still wouldn't care, because my personal preference is that I prefer that second album. And whatever.
Just fuck you, basically, if you don't like it.
It's also, like you mentioned Metallica, and as a bassist, you always find loads of people rave on about Cliff Burton. Cliff Burton's playing, but I'm like, whatever. I prefer Jason News's style of playing. It's clearer, it's more tacky. I just think it's better, in my opinion.
Why do you think people are so partisan in that kind of thing? Because it's always made me wonder why people get... I know, like, music means a lot to people, doesn't it? We all love our bands and everything, but everyone seems to get so emotionally invested in these little tribal warfares that go on.
Isn't it?
Yeah, and I don't understand, like, if it's like with a whole back catalogue, like if a singer changes or something, then everyone kicks up a fuss or starts, Van Hager or Van Roth or kind of all that kind of shit. It's like, why can't
why does it matter?
Yeah, you've got a whole back catalogue. It's a nice bit of variety. If you like that stuff, listen to that stuff. If you like that stuff,
the stuff that you like.
Yeah, why does it have to be a huge drama where you end up in huge slagging matches with each other? I don't understand it.
It doesn't, does it?
No.
It really doesn't.
I suppose we're just two grumpy old men who think the world's stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think we're right.
Yeah. In the words of Lethal Weapon, we're getting too old for this shit, Riggs.
Yes, we are.
So how are you finding not gigging with the lockdown and everything? I know some people are getting really twitchy and tetchy. How are you finding it?
It's not the end of the world.
No.
But I would quite like to go out and play some shows.
Yeah.
At the same time. It's it could be worse. There could be no, I guess, there could be no light at the end of the tunnel, sort of thing. But at least I know that this will obviously all at some point things will become more relaxed, and everyone will be able to get back to gigging and doing the things we love doing. It's just a question of holding on until that time comes, and everything can be done in a sort of safe manner, really.
Yeah. Well, we say people will get back to it 9 months down the line when all the new kids have been born from all this lockdown. Everyone's going to be too skint to go out again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
think of that.
That's a word of warning to you, mate. No more babies. I know what you're like, you and your loins.
Not for a little while, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, but you're not going to have a third, are you? Surely.
No, I don't know.
Maybe,
I don't know. Let's say never.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
All right, dude. We shall call it an evening, I think, as it's quite late and you've got work in exactly the same spot in the morning, probably.
I was just going to, I might not even bother going to sleep. I'll just
put a pillow
sleep
down
here. Yeah, and just wake up in the morning and crack on.
The reality of a rock and roll star, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Admin and work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
That's all right. It's a pleasure. Lovely to see your face. It's been a while.
Lovely to see yours too.
We're both getting... I'm just trying to see, because I know I'm ginger in the beard department. I think yours was a little bit lighter. Yeah, mine's got flecks of brown and grey in there as well.
Yeah, it looks kind of auburn from where I'm sat this evening.
Yeah, yours is more a strawberry blonde.
Always. I shaved my hair off though. Well, Steph shaved my hair off.
Oh yeah.
A while ago. It's just growing back now.
Yeah, you haven't got a quiff going on.
No.
No. Oh well.
No, not at the moment.
It'll come back.
Yeah, eventually.
All right, buddy. Well, you take care, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
Bye, Mike.
See you later.